right, we're going to knock into some notes. These are going to be a little bit rushed in a way, but the good news is that this is very doable. Pretty kind of common sensey, if you know what I'm talking about. We need to divide, and the reality is we just need to subtract, okay? One way to think about dividing, you guys know I can go a little bit crazy, is to think about it like you have a little bit of like a battlefield going on. And so what I've just done is I've written out 4 x's on the top and 2 x's on the bottom, right? So I just spread them out. Instead of x power 4, I wrote x, 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 x. And instead of x squared, I just wrote x, x. And so one way you can think about dividing is that we're just going to kind of have a battle, and we're going to have some casualties, right? So we're going to have some people not make it through the battle, and then whoever's left at the end survives. So here, these 2 people are going to fight. They're both going to die, and these 2 people are going to battle, and they're both going to get knocked out. And there's going to be only 2 people remaining because 4 minus 2 equals 2. And so the answer is going to be xx, which we would write x squared. So pretty simple. Just use your subtraction. Now, if we look at number 2, if I was going to say, you know, hey, anybody who can solve number 2, or maybe if everybody in the class gets number 2 right, I'll give everybody $1, right? You probably like your chances on number 2, right? Hey, Mr. Collier, all we have to do is subtract. We're going to get the answer right. But number 2 is a very commonly missed question. Okay, as easy as it looks, as easy as just subtracting sounds, let's say I do the same kind of thing. All right, set up a little bit of a battlefield, and I go 1, 2, 3 x's on top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the bottom, and we're going to kind of go to war here or whatever, and we're going to have 1, 2, 3. Those are all going to kind of cross out. And there's going to be, of course, 4 x's left. So we're going to have x power 4 left. But there is a major difference between number 1 and number 2. Number 1, we had the x's left over were on the top team, right? This is where we had kind of like, if you almost want to think of it like the winner, was the top team. But for number 2, it's not the top that kind of wins the battle. It's the bottom. These 4 on the bottom are the victorious. So down here we have kind of the bottom is the winner. That means that these 4 x's, they don't want to be like these 2 x's. They're not buddies with these top x's. These are bottom x's. And so when you write your answer, you're going to write your answer like this, which is, don't overcomplicate it. If the bottom wins, put the x's in the bottom. That as simple as that, okay? So you are simply just going to do subtraction. Just make sure that wherever kind of the winners end up, wherever you have the extra letters, is where they finish at the end of the question. So we're going to now fly through some questions. Let's look at the m's. We've got 7 against 1. Easy subtraction. What's 7 minus 1? 6. And are those 6 m's left over on the top, or are they left over on the bottom? They're left over on the top, because obviously 7 on the top is where we have more m's. So you're just going to kind of look for wherever there's more letters and go with that. So let's look at the n's. Obviously, really simple. 5 minus 2, 3. Where are those n's left over? Are those top n's or bottom n's? Those are top, because we have most of them on the top. So we're going to have n3 on the top. So what's on the bottom? If you don't know what's on the bottom, you can always put a 1 down there. The reality is, do you need to say something is divided by 1? So a distinction here is this bottom 1 is not necessary. Okay? As mathematicians, we assume that when we see something like this, we assume this is a numerator. We assume this is a top. Okay? So if we kind of don't have this 1, we still assume this is an M6 on top. We still assume this is an N3 on top. However, like for number 2, this 1 on top is definitely necessary. Because if we don't have that 1, we're going to assume that this x4 is on top, and that's going to be wrong. Okay, let's keep it going. Number 4. For number 4, we're going to think about it. Sometimes it's easy. Just start with a fraction, right? Just start with a fraction. Look at your x's. Where do we have more x's on the top? And how many more do we have on the top? 1. So we're just going to put 1x on the top. We've got more up there. We've got 1 more up there. What's 3 minus 2? 1. So we put 1 up there. Now let's look at the y's. Where do we have more y's? We have more y's on the bottom. And really easy. What's 7 minus 6? Well, 7 minus 6. So the way you're doing it, 6 minus 7, where the top number is always first, isn't the way I really like to do it. Okay? I just pick the big number is 7, so I just always do the big number first. But since the big numbers are on the bottom, I know to go with the y. Negative exponents are a thing, but we haven't really learned them yet, and so I'm just kind of leaving that for later. Now number 5 has coefficients. Number 5 has numbers out front, so let's just use Desmos, and negative 18 divided by 16. How do we make this a fraction? Click this button over here. I hope you guys remember that. Negative 9 over 8. So let's go fraction negative 9 over 8. And as you saw, I made my fraction nice and big because I don't know if I'm going to have some x's on the top, some x's on the bottom, some y's on the top, some y's on the bottom. So for the x's, more x's on the bottom. What's 4 minus 3? 1. What about the y's? Who wins the battle, the top or the bottom?
The bottom.
The bottom. And how many more y's are on the bottom? 12 minus 9, that would be 3. If you ever get stuck, as silly as this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what's left over? 3 y's on the bottom. You don't really have an excuse to get this wrong. Just write them out, cross them off, you're going to get it right. Okay? Perfect, we're going right on time. Let's finish number 6 here. I think we can maybe do this in our head. What's 3 divided by 6? So it's a little tricky because the 6 is on the bottom. 3 divided by 6, fraction 1/2. So let's do 1/2. And again, I gave myself some room. We got A's. Who wins, the top or the bottom? The top. And how many extra do we have? 4. And then we go to the B's. Now, they tried to trick us up a little bit here. The B's are kind of diagonal from each other. 3 on top, 7 on bottom. The bottom is going to win. How many we got? 4 extras. But then the C's. What the heck are we going to do with this? The 7 C's, as they say in pirate class. We've got 7 C's on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 C's on bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was already 7. And now, with these C's, dead, 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 dead. How many C's we got left over? None. Does the top win? Does the bottom win? All the C's are dead. Okay. Now, we're going to do one more question. Number 7 is kind of boring. It's too easy. Look at number 8. Okay. What we've got is something that looks a little interesting here. We have a big numerator. Okay. Notice that we have these pluses and minuses. That is spreading us out into multiple pieces. Stay with me for another 60 seconds, please. We're going to do this first one and divide it by the bottom. So we're going to look at these two yellow things here. Negative 35 divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 7. And we're just doing subtraction. 5a's minus 2a's. That's going to be 3 of them. 4b's minus 1. That's going to be 3 of them. So what we just did is we finished off the first term. Now, I'm going to use my orange highlighter. Now we're going to do the middle one. And when you have a multiple top kind of going on, you're going to keep using the same bottom over and over again. 40 divided by negative 5, I'll just speed it up, it's going to be negative 8. 3a's minus 2, 1. 6b's minus 1 is 5. And now we're going to do our very last thing here. We're going to use this last one. We're going to keep reusing that bottom. At this point, the recorder's not doing a very good job picking up that because I've triple highlighted it here. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. A's 2 minus 2 is 0. Am I going to write any A's on the paper? No. They're all dead. B and B makes 0. All right. Nice job. Really quick lesson on dividing. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Way to go.